Stop everything you're doing right now because what I'm about to show you will absolutely blow your mind. The wrestling world just exploded, and I mean exploded, when Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns pulled off something so shocking, so unbelievable that fans are still picking their jaws up off the floor. We're talking about the Maskman mystery that has haunted WWE for months. And brothers and sisters, the reveal. The reveal is something nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. Before we dive into this absolute chaos, I need you to do something for me. If you love wrestling, if you live for those earth-shattering moments that make your heart race and your hands shake, smash that subscribe button right now. Wrestling News WWE is your family, your home for the most intense, most passionate wrestling breakdowns on this entire platform. And we need you with us. Hit that notification bell because you're not going to want to miss a single second of what's coming. Trust me on this one. This isn't just another wrestling story. This is history being written right before our eyes. The electricity in that arena was something you could feel through the screen. Thousands of fans on their feet. The noise deafening, absolute pandemonium erupting from every corner of the building. And right there in the center of it all stood Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. Two men who have been through war together, who have torn each other apart, who have shared glory and heartbreak in equal measure. But tonight was different. You could see it in their eyes. That look of determination mixed with something else, something darker. They knew what they were about to do would change everything. For months, this masked figure has been terrorizing the WWE roster, attacking superstars from behind, costing people championships, ruining careers, and leaving nothing but destruction in his wake. Week after week, speculation ran wild. Was it a returning legend? Was it someone from NXT ready to make their mark? Was it a disgruntled former champion seeking revenge? The theories were endless, the rumors nonstop, and the mystery deepened with every single appearance. But Seth and Roman, these two warriors, these two brothers in arms who know what it takes to survive at the highest level, they'd had enough. They made a vow, a promise to the WWE Universe that they would unmask this coward, that they would expose whoever was hiding behind that mask and make them pay for every single attack, every single ambush, every single moment of chaos they caused. The stage was set and you could cut the tension with a knife. The lights dimmed and that familiar haunting music hit. The music that had become synonymous with fear, with unpredictability, with danger. The masked man emerged from the shadows, moving with that eerie confidence that had become his trademark. The crowd erupted in boos, a wall of sound so intense it shook the very foundation of the arena. This was the moment everyone had been waiting for. This was where answers would finally come. Rollins, the architect, the visionary, stood there with his jaw clenched, fists balled up so tight his knuckles had gone white. You could see every muscle in his body tensed and ready to explode. And Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, stood beside him with that cold, calculating stare that has brought so many men to their knees. These two weren't just ready for a fight, they were ready for war. They were ready to end this once and for all, no matter what it took, no matter how brutal it had to get. The masked man circled the ring like a predator sizing up his prey, and the mind games had already begun. He tilted his head mockingly, gesturing for them to come and get him, taunting them with every single movement. But Seth and Roman, they weren't rookies. They'd been in this business long enough to know better than to rush in blindly. They communicated with just a glance. That unspoken understanding that only comes from years of working together, fighting together, surviving together. And then, like lightning striking, they moved. Seth went left, Roman went right, and the masked man found himself trapped in a corner with nowhere to run. The crowd was on their feet, screaming at the top of their lungs as the two powerhouses closed in. The masked man tried to escape, tried to roll out of the ring, but Seth was too quick. He caught him by the leg and dragged him back in with such force you could hear the impact of his body hitting the canvas. Roman grabbed the other arm and together hoisted this mystery attacker into the air before driving him down with a devastating double powerbomb that rattled every bone in his body. The impact was sickening. The masked man writhed on the mat, clutching his back, clearly hurt, clearly not expecting such immediate and brutal retaliation. But there was no sympathy from Seth and Roman. No mercy, no hesitation. They had one goal and one goal only: unmask this coward and expose him to the world. Seth grabbed the mask, his fingers gripping the fabric as the crowd's anticipation reached fever pitch. This was it. This was the moment of truth. But the masked man fought back with desperate wild strikes, landing a vicious thumb to set eye that sent him reeling backward in pain. Roman immediately stepped in, loading up for the Superman punch, his fist cocked back and ready to launch. The crowd counted along in their heads, knowing what was coming, feeling that familiar buildup of energy. But the masked man ducked at the last possible second, and Roman's momentum carried him into the ropes. The mysterious attacker capitalized on the split-second opening, delivering a brutal knee strike to Roman's midsection that doubled him over. Then came a DDT that planted the tribal chief head first into the mat. With such force the entire ring shook. The arena gasped collectively. Roman Reigns, the unstoppable force of WWE, was down. The masked man stood over him, breathing heavily, and for a moment it looked like he might actually escape again. Might slip away into the night, like he'd done so many times before. But Seth Rollins wasn't finished. Not by a long shot. Fighting through the pain in his eye, vision blurred, operating on pure instinct and adrenaline, Seth launched himself at the masked man with a sling blade that came out of absolutely nowhere. The impact echoed through the arena as both men crashed to the mat. The crowd was losing their minds. chants of "This is awesome" filled the air as fans witnessed these three warriors tearing each other apart in the middle of that ring. This wasn't just a match. This was personal. This was about justice, about revenge, about finally getting the answers that had eluded everyone for so long. Seth pulled himself up using the ropes, his chest heaving, sweat pouring down his face. Roman was stirring, shaking off the cobwebs from the devastating DDT. And the masked man was slowly, painfully trying to crawl toward the ropes to escape. But escape wasn't an option tonight, not anymore. Roman caught him by the boot just as he was about to slide under the bottom rope. The tribal chief dragged him back to the center of the ring, and you could see the fear in the masked man's body language. The way he squirmed, the way he tried desperately to break free, it was clear he knew his time was running out. Seth joined Roman and together they pulled the masked attacker to his feet. The crowd was chanting, take it off, over and over, a deafening chorus demanding the reveal they'd been waiting months to see. Halfway through this incredible story, I've got to stop and say something from my heart. If you're feeling what I'm feeling right now, if this passion, this energy, this absolute love for professional wrestling is running through your veins the same way it's running through mine, then please do me a favor. Hit that like button because it tells me you're with me on this journey. Subscribe to Slam Zone and become part of this family, this community of wrestling fanatics who live for these moments. We're building something special here, and I want you to be a part of it. Every single week we bring you the most intense, the most emotional, the most detailed wrestling breakdowns you're going to find anywhere. Don't miss out, join us. Now let's get back to this absolutely insane situation unfolding before our eyes. Seth and Roman exchanged one final look, a nod of understanding passing between them. This was it, no more games, no more delays. Roman held the masked man in place while Seth reached for the mask, again gripping it firmly with both hands. This time the entire arena held its breath. You could have heard a pin drop despite the thousands of people packed into that building. Time seemed to slow down as Seth began to pull, slowly revealing the chin, then the mouth, then the nose. The masked man struggled, thrashing wildly, but Roman's grip was ironclad, unbreakable. And then in one swift motion, Seth ripped the mask completely off. The camera zoomed in, focusing on the face that had been hidden for months. And when the image hit the big screen, the reaction was instantaneous and absolutely explosive. The crowd erupted in a mixture of shock, disbelief, and pure pandemonium. People were screaming, pointing, grabbing their heads in utter astonishment. Even the commentators seemed at a loss for words, because standing there exposed for all the world to see was someone nobody, and I mean nobody, had predicted. The betrayal, the deception, the months of manipulation all came crashing down in that single devastating moment. Seth's face went from determination to absolute shock. His eyes widened, his mouth fell open, and you could see him physically take a step backward as if he'd been punched in the gut. Roman's expression was harder to read. That stoic mask he wears so well barely cracking, but you could see it in his eyes. The surprise, the anger, the feeling of being blindsided by someone they never suspected. The masked man, now exposed, stood there with a twisted smile spreading across his face. And that smile told you everything you needed to know. This wasn't someone ashamed of being caught. This was someone proud of what they'd done, someone who had orchestrated this entire thing from the very beginning. The reveal sent shock waves not just through that arena but through the entire wrestling world. Social media exploded within seconds. Trending topics took over Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, every platform imaginable. Fans were posting their reactions, their theories about what this meant for WrestleMania 42. Their predictions about where this story would go from here, because this wasn't just an ending. This was a beginning. This was the opening chapter of what promised to be the most explosive, most personal, most emotionally charged rivalry heading into the biggest event of the year. What made this moment so powerful, so gut-wrenching, was the history involved. The connections, the relationships, the trust that had been built and now shattered into a million pieces. This person had been there through some of the biggest moments in both Seth's and Roman's careers. They'd shared locker rooms, shared buses, shared dreams of making it to the top of this industry. And now, standing there unmasked, they represented everything that betrayal meant in professional wrestling. The ultimate Judas moment playing out in real time. The confrontation that followed was intense beyond words. Accusations flew, voices raised, emotions running so high you could practically feel them radiating through the screen. The unmasked attacker finally spoke, and the words that came out cut deeper than any physical attack ever could. They talked about being overlooked, being passed by, while Seth and Roman received opportunity after opportunity. They spoke about jealousy, about resentment that had been festering for years, building and building until it finally exploded in this campaign of terror. Every attack, every ambush, every moment of chaos had been carefully calculated to hurt the people they once called brothers. Seth looked like he'd been stabbed in the heart. You could see the pain in his eyes, the hurt that went beyond anything physical. This was someone he trusted, someone he'd confided in, someone he'd considered family. And Roman, despite his iron exterior, despite his refusal to show weakness, you could see his jaw working, his fists clenching and unclenching as he processed this betrayal. The tribal chief had been challenged many times, had faced countless opponents, but this was different. This was personal in a way that cut to his very core. The arena was still in absolute chaos as security rushed the ring, trying to separate the three men before things escalated even further. But the damage was done. The mask had been removed, the truth exposed, and the path to WrestleMania 42 had just become infinitely more compelling. This wasn't going to be just another match. This was going to be a war fueled by years of hidden resentment, by betrayal of the deepest kind, by emotions so raw and real that no script could capture them. As we reach the end of this incredible breakdown, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here, for sharing this moment with me, for being part of the Wrestling News WWE family. If you haven't already, please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another moment of wrestling history. Share this video with every wrestling fan you know because they need to see this. They need to understand what just happened and what it means for the road to WrestleMania. Comment below with your thoughts, your reactions, your predictions for where this goes next. I want to hear from every single one of you because that's what makes this community special. What we witnessed tonight was more than just an unmasking. It was the destruction of trust, the shattering of brotherhood, and the birth of a rivalry that will define WrestleMania 42. The chess pieces are moving, the battle lines are drawn, and when these three warriors finally collide on the grandest stage of them all, we're going to witness something truly legendary. This is Wrestling News WWE, and this is where legends are made, where stories are told, and where the passion for professional wrestling burns brighter than anywhere else. Until next time, keep that passion alive, keep supporting the business we love, and I'll see you in the next breakdown. This is going to be one hell of a ride to WrestleMania.